There are two other big bad things that if they were to happen,
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. Today we have Mark Yusko discussing the current Bitcoin market. This comes at a time when the crypto market is emulating the downturn in the stock market, which is expected. Fear in the market is to be anticipated, especially following the collapse of FTX and the uncertainties around further financial contagion. Despite the fear and greed index indicating instability across the market, Mark Yusko remains bullish on Bitcoin. Yesterday peaked just above $17,000, and as of the recording of this video, Bitcoin is sitting just below $16,900. Yusko is the least surprised by this, but it does show that inflation is still an issue. With crypto in the red and market sentiment near the bottom, Mark does see a scenario coming that will cause Bitcoin to crash worse than anyone has seen yet. Let's check out this interview as Yusko gives us his take on the current state of the Bitcoin market and where crypto is headed going into 2023. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content we do here on this channel. Let's get right into the video.
they're going to punish crypto because of FTX. It's not that crypto winter extends. I do think we're in crypto spring, but the bear market could continue because we had, I'll call it, Hurricane Sam or, Nor'easter Sam. Every March, not every March, about every 10 years in March, we get a nor'easter off the coast of North Carolina where I live, and it dumps, a foot of snow in March, and nobody knows how to deal with that. It's spring. 2 weeks earlier, I was barbecuing, and then I get, a foot of snow. And that's kind of what FTX is. It was a big old storm. Sam, bad guy. Caroline, bad person. Bad people. Bad people do bad things. Hate the players, not the game. It's not the game that's the problem. It's the players. But now the problem is, I'll call it earthquake. I'm going to switch mixed metaphors here. If GBTC has to liquidate, that will be very bad in the short run. I mean, like really bad. And look, it's right in the crosshairs right now. I mean, they have $1 billion hole caused by FTX and Genesis, and Barry's trying desperately to raise capital. But if he's forced to actually liquidate the trust to close the discount, that could be ugly, because that puts 600,000 plus Bitcoin on the market, and that'll, I don't even want to say how low we go then, and everything else would follow. In terms of am I buying Bitcoin here? The answer is no. Talking a lot about it. In fact, I get a text just about every day from the other guys on my team saying, now, like, look, I'm not a day trader. I'm a DCA person. I like to, dollar cost average. And I do believe that everyone in this space should pick a percentage that you want to own, 1%, 2%, 3%, 5%, whatever the number is, whatever you're comfortable with. And you shouldn't buy it all at once. You should buy it over time. So, I don't look at the price to decide. I say, okay, I set that I'm going to buy some, this week and next week and the next week and the next month and the next month. And it's funny, I did a CNBC thing, and it's been on Twitter a bunch of times. And while I was on the show, the price went from 10 to 8. Like literally in the 6 minutes I was on the show. And Melissa Lee, the host, said, what should we do? I buy it. And literally she was perplexed. She's like, well, will you just say that no matter what the price? I'm like, yep, I would. Buy it today, buy it tomorrow, buy it next week, buy it next month, but don't buy it all at once, right?
Yusko believes that most currencies will be wiped out, with only around 10% surviving. He's amazed that Bitcoin hasn't conveyed more strength in the market, because Bitcoin usually does the risk minimum at least 2 times when the stock market rallies. This hasn't happened because Bitcoin has floated up due to the fear of investors who have already lost money in crypto. Yusko believes that it's important to recognize that the current long-term pattern is very bearish. He sees that Bitcoin has the ability to go down significantly in the next 60 days.
I feel like the FTX is like an Enron moment, in that just fraud is bad. And if there's one fraud, there's more frauds. So I think the frauds will bubble to the surface. In the stock market, I think there are a lot of frauds. I think the accounting shenanigans in US stocks are like stock-based compensation. How can you turn an expense into revenue? That just makes no sense to me. So I think there's a lot of fluff still in the stock market. So I would say, if some of that fluff rises and we get a couple bad actors, we could be in. Interest rates, I think, will peak this quarter and then head down. You're already seeing it in the 10-year and the 30-year. They're already headed down. So I think that would actually be positive for equities. I think in the short run, it'll be super positive. Like people will be, oh, this is awesome. And there'll be a big short squeeze and the crappy stuff will go up. And then people will realize, rates are falling because the economy is getting worse. That's not good for stocks. So then you might have that second cascade down. And, GDP went down 31% and then it rebounded and we had the greatest GDP increase in history. No, you didn't. That's just math. So that's a really long answer to the stock market. I think the most likely is downward trending with the potential for a really ugly period if some fraud comes out. On the crypto side, I'm going to stand by my statement that we're in crypto spring that lasts through the first quarter next year. The halving is April of 2024. So usually 9 months to 12 months in advance of that, we start the next parabolic up move. I think we'll be mostly healed of all the nonsense that's going on right now by then. And so I would think April, May, June timeframe could be the beginnings of summer. And crypto summer is when things should get interesting. I think, builders build. If I look back at my life in investing, the best investments I've ever made have been in recessions, bear markets, because people get displaced, they got to do something, they start a new company, and it turns out to be great. Whether that was investing in Bitcoin in 2018, 19. So I do think crypto broadly, and people get so mad, right? Bitcoin and nothing else. Well, whatever. There's Bitcoin, there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Is 90% of it, maybe 95% of it garbage? Yeah, sure. In the last 4 years, what's actually been built that's durable? It's a hard question to answer, actually. We had a lot of, this, to the moon and back, but have we really built things that are durable? And, you could say there's some DeFi protocols that look like they're durable. But even those are teetering now with the deleveraging. You could say Bitcoin and Bitcoin only, fine, you can say that. But what about the infrastructure around the rest? And as we migrate into Web3, there are a lot of things that are going to be done in a decentralized and distributed world. There just are. But we haven't built all of it yet. But we shouldn't have an expectation. S-curves last 30 years. First 10% over 10 years, next 80% over 10 years, and the last 10% over the last 10. I'm going to throw out the first 4 years where it was just total science project. There wasn't anybody really doing anything. So I'll say we're a decade in. And a decade in, we should have about 10%. I think we're at 11 or something percent of users. That means the next decade is the big growth.
Mark believes that Bitcoin is not at the bottom, but he compares Bitcoin's future as the blockchain equivalent of Amazon, which at one point fell 95%. If Bitcoin gets written down, it's hard to tell if it's worthwhile to dump that position to buy lower. He doesn't recommend exiting the market because a bull run might immediately start, and the risk of investors missing out on profit is too high. Yusko advises investors to choose the path they're comfortable with, but recommends to be sure to dollar cost average gradually and to space out time between each buy. What do you guys think about Mark Yusko's prediction for Bitcoin and where the crypto market is headed going into 2023? Comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.